California, which is so often at the forefront of state-based initiatives, it will be interesting to see if the proposed tightening of non-medical exemptions can succeed. And here to talk about that, joining me now, California State Senator Ben Allen, the co-sponsor of that bill. Senator, first, how did it get to this point? Why is it the case that California seems to be the kind of both epicenter of the outbreak of exemptions and also the loosest kind of regulatory approach to this?
That's a good question. We're always the first in everything, and I think we've got a lot of people with, free thinkers. We have a lot of. We're also a state with a lot of people coming in and out, people leaving the state, coming into the state. We've got some major tourist centers, so there's a lot of free flow in our state, and ultimately we let our vaccination rates go just too low in certain areas of the state, and that's why we're putting forward this legislation to solve that problem and get those vaccination rates back up to where they need to be to protect the public health.
Okay, so from afar, basically given what we've seen in terms of the outbreak that's happening, given the specter of a disease that essentially have been eliminated coming roaring back, given the low vaccination rates in places like Santa Cruz and Los Angeles as well, that are below the herd immunity threshold, this would seem to be a no-brainer. Is it a no-brainer politically?
Well, I think we're going to get a lot of support from across the political spectrum, lots of different types of folks. But, there's certainly going to be some people out there who are going to be concerned. We're making sure to, allow for some medical exemptions and religious exemptions, that sort of thing. But, yeah, there will be some people opposed. I think they don't believe some of the science. They haven't kind of gotten up to speed with the fact that a lot of the studies about vaccines that were showing the vaccines were a problem have been totally debunked. And I think the main thing here is that people really forget. They forget how dangerous a world it is out there. They forget the fact that, half of Europe was wiped out during the bubonic plague. They forgot the fact that before the measles vaccine, we had 100 people dying every single year of measles. And so we've gotten a little complacent, I think, because we've been so successful in immunizing people and in creating more cleanliness and in creating more safety for people. And they forget that there's a lot of risks out there. And, they've decided not to get vaccinated. And as a result, we now see this outbreak, and public health officials tell us that there's a danger of other outbreaks to come if we don't get a handle on this matter.
Where is the organized resistance going to come to this bill, if there is any? You said some people won't like it, and that's true of any piece of legislation. But the question is going to be if there are people actually on the other side of this lobbying against it, if you have members of the state legislature lobbying against it. Where do you anticipate that coming from?
We haven't heard anyone in the state legislature lobby against it yet. The governor's already making some very positive comments about it. We even had the Senate minority leader, the Republican leader in the Senate, make positive comments about the bill. So we're feeling pretty good about where we are in the legislature. There will certainly be some people out there who will raise concerns in the broader public, and I'm sure you've heard from some of them yourself. But I think in the end of the day, this is going to be something that's going to bring people together. People really do get concerned about this kind of public health risk that we currently have, and I'm feeling confident about this.
Let me ask you this. Why is it legislatively salient whether my objection has to do with God or not? I mean, it seems to me that you start to enter into somewhat dicey philosophical territory in which if you have an objection based on a set of beliefs that are grounded in some sense of a supreme being, that is okay. If you have a philosophical objection grounded in some set of beliefs that are entirely secular, that is not. What's the principled distinction between the two?
That's a great question. And of course, to some extent, it's grounded in the history of the United States and the First Amendment, that sort of thing. We actually don't have a religious exemption on the books in California. It was created by the governor as part of a signing message a couple of years ago when he signed a bill that tightened up the vaccine requirements at the time. So it's an interesting issue. We're going to be talking with the governor. We're going to be talking with other legislative leaders and trying to define how exactly that religious exemption will look. So it's a great question. Stay tuned. It's something we're working on right now.
California State Senator Ben Allen, thank you very much.